A few weeks ago, a friend sent me a tier list for the different types of media, and it actually had a lot of options. Theater, manga, video games, movies, everything you would expect from a list of mediums. Now, my tier list ended up looking something like this. Now, I don't entirely agree with everything that I placed, but what I absolutely do agree with is visual novels being at the very top, despite the fact that this wasn't meant to be ordered. I know a lot of people who would scoff at the idea that visual novels could be anywhere close to the top. I know other people who won't even touch the medium. Thankfully, they're both stupid, so this video is meant not just to prove them wrong, but also hopefully get you interested in your first or next visual novel. And with that being said, right off the bat, the fact that visual novels are one of the types of media that let you experience pretty much every major pillar of creative work puts it right up there with heavy hitters like movies and video games. I would say that the big three of media are visuals, sound, and writing. It's possible for an art form to have all three or only one, but they are all integral to art in some way, shape, or form. When you play a visual novel, it's obviously going to have writing. The big text box at the bottom or all over your screen is going to house every single word that the author wrote as you click through the script. Of course, it's a visual novel, so you're also going to be taking in the beautiful visuals that the artists curated. It's not in the title of the medium this time, but you're probably going to be hearing music and other sound effects while you read that can help you immerse into the story. Or well, I guess it is in the name, since some visual novels are referred to as sound novels, or maybe some sound novels are referred to as visual novels, and maybe some adventure games are referred to as visual novels or sound novels, or maybe. Now, obviously, some other mediums are able to use all three, like previously mentioned, movies and video games, but I think that visual novels have one major advantage over other things that combine all three. The fact that the writing can be read. A lot of other media will provide the visuals and the sound, but the writing isn't really on full display. In a visual novel, the writing is literally on the screen, and that means a lot, mainly because you can read prose in a way that hearing it doesn't really compare to. A lot of complex or dense writing is significantly more effective when reading it, and visual novels allow that while also allowing everything else. Of course, some video games also put writing on the screen.
Please, Daddy!
I told you, when I'm finished, you can have what's left!
Technically, you can cover any topic in any medium. In fact, indie content usually does cover most topics, but visual novels cover those topics significantly more widely than other mainstream media, and therefore have more good content that delves into these different topics than anything else. Now, there are the obvious ones, but even outside of that, visual novels will still cover a large variety of topics. If you want action, there's Fate Stay Night and Tsukihime. If you're looking for romance, you can play any of the infinite amount of dating sims out there, preferably not the stupid ones on Steam. Well, some of them are good. Or if you want drama, you could suffer through White Album 2. Simultaneously, by virtue of them being adjacent to video games, or in my opinion should count, but that's another story, they're able to cover a lot of things that are often exclusive to games, specifically meta content with the same amount of depth. Doki Doki is the obviously massively popular example here. Visual novels cover not only every topic that most other media does, and more than they can afford to, basically letting you engage with anything and everything you could possibly be interested in. Anything. This doesn't technically have to do with the novels themselves, but I do think having a good place to engage with other people's experiences, as well as share your own, is important in art. The two parties in art are the artist and consumer, so these things are integral to your experiences. Visual novels are a somewhat niche medium, but thankfully I think they actually have one of the best communities on the internet. There's a lot of visual novel content on YouTube, and I've engaged with a lot of it. These videos are often in depth, well made, and are a joy to interact with, and other people in the comments of these videos make that apparent. A lot of my favorite creators are creators that largely interact with visual novels, and part of what inspired this video itself was these videos being so well done. It's not just the analysis side of the community though, but the creative side too. Katawa Shoujo, its own visual novel, was literally created by a bunch of 4chan users, which is likely that site's greatest contribution to the internet ever. Places like r/visual novels or other visual novel centric forums are a joy to scroll through, even if they can get a bit crazy sometimes. And tools like Visual Novel Database or Novel Centric Guides are useful tools that only further show how much the community has accomplished and really push it over the edge to being one of the better communities online.
The ultimate life form, chaos control,
Space
desperation,
prayer.
supersonic collision,
Tears.
untamed power, Maria,
Professor Gerald, the
apocalypse,
truth about 50 years ago.
Sonic Adventure 2.
Those are some of the reasons why visual novels are, in my opinion, the best form of media. At the end of the day though, it is up to you to have your own opinions. Unfortunately, they will be wrong. This is a different video for me since I basically only ever posted the animations in gaming, but I would like to make more video essays, so please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video since I will most likely keep making these. So, thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll check out your own visual novel sometime soon.